It's the hot show, and I don't know how it's gonna go. It's the hot show, and I can't guess what's gonna happen next. So come on and join in. Let's do the hot show. Hello, and welcome to the Hot Show. I'm Hot the Cat, and this is Max.
Hi.
We're live from Max's place.
Yeah, Hot is visiting Los Angeles right now.
Pretty exciting. It is quite warm here.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I think it's warm other places too. I understand it's also warm in Chicago. But it's pretty warm. How you doing, Max?
Pretty good.
Thank you for watching. Anyone who sees this now or in the future on our YouTube archive, it's a real pleasure to have you here. We're probably going to do a fairly short episode today. Might even time it out. Keep us true to a short episode.
I've got an idea for that.
Oh, great. It's nice being here in somebody else's new place. Again, a new place for the Hot Show because I have no idea what Max is about to bring out. It's kind of fun. Like, he can run off and bring all sorts of crazy stuff. Because it's so hot, I do feel like maybe I should start off with a little song. Remember to hydrate wherever you are. Just find a tap water bottle, a clear mountain spring, and let's take a drink. So if you got some water, take a drink. Ooh. I see we have somebody watching. It's good to have you here. It's good to have you here. Oh, I think I see something. Is it ready, Max? How y'all doing tonight? It's strange. I'm so used to, over this whole winter, doing episodes at night. It's like daylight out. It's very strange. Oh, wow, look at this. No, I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going to try it to show you. Nope, that was a bad choice. I thought that was a nice thing to try, but I didn't do it. All right, it looks like we're getting a timer here. All right. Looks like that's the time we have left. We'll check in periodically with that there. I mean, for now, I guess we can leave it up because what else are we going to do? Now, unfortunately, there weren't like a ton of plans for this episode because I'm on vacation. And so oh, that totally blocks your face, Max. Okay, we'll just, we'll come back to that periodically.
Can you put it somewhere else?
Not really. I can kind of put it on the side like this, or like that, where we're tiny.
Why can't you make that tiny?
Because it's a sharing screen, and for some reason that's just not how it works.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know why it's like that.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, because I've had ideas for things sometimes for the show where it would be like one of the boxes is like a shared screen.
Yeah,
but
that can be really useful for stuff.
Yeah. But unfortunately, there's not an easy way to do that. The best way would probably be like a phone, like on that or something.
A phone on what?
Like a phone, like the camera on like a screen or something. Because like the
I see.
Yeah. Or you could probably use like OBS or something like that.
Yeah, you can definitely use OBS.
Yeah, get a virtual.
They're really
camera.
flexible.
Yeah,
maybe that would be a good idea.
Yeah, maybe it's one of the things I'll try to work on once I get back to the home cat den. How are you doing, Max?
I'm pretty good. I'm rather tired.
Yeah.
I had kind of a long and busy day. What about you?
I'm doing pretty well. As I mentioned, I'm pretty warm. But I'm generally feeling pretty good. I think that taking a little vacation has been good for me to like, especially after like kind of like the get things done, like to like kind of be like, I don't really have things I have to get done.
That's definitely very healthy.
Yeah, the thing that I've done the most recently that I've like accomplished is that I beat Kirby's Adventure.
That game's great.
NES game. Yeah, it was wonderful.
The final boss battle is really amazingly impressive on the NES.
Which one is it? Well, oh yeah, that was the like 2-part or like 3-part.
Like with all the stars moving and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Also, I recently played Kirby's Dream Land 2.
I've never played that.
That game is so good. Like, especially like, I know that we're both familiar with like the limitations of the Game Boy, and they do a great job. And it's just a well-designed game. Like the game, like the level design is good, and like you like there's nice abilities that you have, but then like those abilities mix with different allies that you can get, like the different creatures you can ride on and stuff.
Yeah.
And they just combine in such interesting ways. I was just like, this game is great. Like, how have I never played or even like heard much about it?
I haven't heard much about it either.
Yeah, I found it excellent.
It's too bad there isn't a color Kirby or a color Mario.
What do you mean?
For Game Boy Color.
I guess I played a color version.
Oh, you did? Was it good?
I think that's the yeah. I mean, I would say it was limited in its color. Like It wasn't like a wide palette or anything, but it was.
Yeah, I would love it if they had made like a really, you know, lush and really good looking, especially Mario, but this made me think of Kirby. And
I mean,
it would be really
the,
cool. if
the
they had
SNES
done
one, Kirby Dream Land 3, does have some nice color.
that. Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
I'm just
for Game
talking
Boy.
about Game Boy.
For Game Boy, yeah.
And the NES one has really good color too.
Yeah, it does. I was impressed.
It's really hard to, like, when I look at the NES game, I always feel like they need like one more color, but it's really hard to do that because they only have 4 color palettes for the backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
they did a great job with it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I keep thinking for my games that I've been making on Game Boy, I've only been using 6 color palettes because for some reason Game Boy Studio 2 only can use 6, but Game Boy Studio 3 can use 8. So when I finally make a game in Game Boy Studio 3, I'm going to be able to make it even more colorful.
Which is crazy because you already do so much more with color than most other people do using Game Boy Studio.
I spend time on it.
There's been a few times as I've started looking more into using Game Boy Studio again, like especially using colors and stuff, that I think, like going back and playing your games, like I think that like it's wow, it's like how did you do this? Like it must have like taken so much like coordinating like palettes to like have overlapping colors, and then like I don't know, it's really good. You did a good job with that.
Yeah, I definitely did spend some time with trial and error.
Yeah.
And I have some ideas I want to try out for my next game that I think might be even better. Like this game, I really tried to do a lot of shading. I think that I'm at least going to experiment with trying to use more color and have like more flat. And I'm going to see how that turns out.
Yeah, because that can work really well sometimes. I mean, a lot of those games that are that really have like impressive graphics, like for like you know the NES or like they actually use so little sometimes. I mean, like there's games also like Yoshi's Island or something, which uses color so beautifully, and like so elaborately, but there's also a lot of like nice times where it's just like like flat colored panels and stuff.
Yeah, what I mean is like most of the time in my games I'll have like a color palette that's like different shades of orange.
Oh,
And I'm thinking maybe if I don't try to do as much 3D shading, I could have more different colors. You know, like it could have like orange and purple or something.
Yeah, I was just playing around with that not too long ago. On that like Crow, like the Surreal Bike idea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know if it's ever come up on this show before.
I think you showed it off one time.
Maybe the early basics of it, but I don't know if I've done it with the like colors that I come up with.
I don't think so.
I don't know. It's probably not even worth doing. It's kind of crazy. Oh yeah, checking it out.
That switch project button brings up the screen.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. It's a weird way to do it.
Start screen share. Start screen share. I mean, it's on like a pretty silly background color. But like the bike color is like I use very different. Like there's a purple and a blue and like I think another blue also, or like a different kind of blue. And I was very happy. And then I also made this fish.
What does it do?
Nothing right now. It was something to try out.
I like that you use the jump animation to make the bike like do a wheelie.
Yeah, I like that too.
Now, how are you doing the slopes and the different sprite for the slope?
So it along the slope at any point, like I think there's 3 different. So like one going across the bottom, one going across the middle, one going across the top. Not like right at the top, but like just under where the top platform is, because you can stand on the platform. But it is, it sends it up. It changes the sprite animation frame to be jumping up, and then pushes you up to that point at the top.
So what happens if you go down this direction? How it works, right?
Yeah, and so it not only calculates, not only like takes account of which one you're at, but it's which direction you're facing, and so like you can also like you jump there, it kind of does something weird because it's telling it to go down and up. But I wanted to make it so like at any point, like it would push you down or push you up, so that it, because like if you were riding a dirt bike and like your dirt bike was going, if you landed on the slope, you're going up that slope. You're not just like falling flat.
Yeah.
Especially because in Game Boy Studio, there's no like angles. I mean,
Right. Yeah. No slopes. It looks pretty good. The only thing that I would think would be cool to add is like determining how fast you're going and seeing if that could be used to, like if you're going really slow, maybe you wouldn't be able to go up the hill all the way. Or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to slow it down. Like
maybe it could be like it can have arrows or something. It could be like a conveyor belt instead of just a slope. So it really communicates why you would be sped up, possibly.
oh yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I mean, but realistically, so this is one thing that I've thought about for this game in particular, is the idea that like this game is not like it's a racing game, and there's going to be like hopefully like a clock in the corner and stuff. And the idea is that you are trying to go as fast as possible. So there's never going to be a point where you're like, unless you're just kind of like messing around, like.
Well, are there any obstacles that can slow you down to add challenge or anything like that?
I mean, I think it's mostly going to be there. There will be, yes.
So maybe
Some stuff, but I think it'll be less having to do with slopes, like.
Also, you're not.
Oh yeah. Thank you. I'm getting paying attention to this now. But yeah, like the not necessarily the slopes. So like that there might be other areas, or if it's with slopes, it's just going to be those small ones.
Well, the question was more for like you might end up at the slope and not be really fast, right?
Yeah, but I guess like a big slope like that, I'm expecting that there will be less obstacles.
Oh, so you will just try to avoid that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
People, okay, I see.
Try to design it in a way that where it seems like it's working well.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
It's not really something I've seen done in Game Boy Studio so far, so that will be fun and novel thing.
Yeah, I have some fun ideas for that game. I am excited to work with them, but I was trying to do some like level design today, like graphic level design, like the graphic aspect of it. And I just couldn't quite get what I imagined yet.
What do you imagine?
I kind of imagine it being made like kind of like out of like polygons, sort of, like where it's just like a diamond or something, and then like it's like the whole like the track will probably just be like pretty flat, but like the in between track part will be kind of like diamonds of differing color, maybe, or something. I'm trying to figure out like kind of just like that polygon where it's just like there are like edges going at angles and stuff.
I think I know what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about.
It's hard, like it's so clear. Like so many games have used stuff like that.
Like Qbert,
Yeah, kind of like Qbert.
but like the paintings where that kind of covers the whole field.
Yeah, and like a little bit more dynamic than Qbert.
Like
because
better
Qbert's like
shading, you mean?
yeah, and like also like kind of like where it because like Qbert is just like cubes, like so it's more like small diamonds or something making up the I don't know, like if you like crinkle up like aluminum foil or something and like put it at an angle going down, like where it's like there's flat sections to it, but there's also like kind of sharp edges to it.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's hard. One of the things about that game is that I'm trying to do everything based on what I imagine in my mind. Like it's an exercise to me of like
that can be
trying
good.
to get things out from my head into the world.
Yeah, that's something that ever since I was a very young kid, I've really found frustrating.
Yeah, but I feel pretty good that like even that beginning there, it was I don't know if I've talked about it necessarily, but like it's a dream that I had where there was this guy who had a normal human body but a tiny normal-sized crow head. So like the crow head like was only like this small. Like,
do you think that was inspired by my game with the crows? Ruby and Rusty Save the Crows.
It did come to mind later.
Like maybe your subconscious mind, you know, had crows more to the forefront because of it.
I think I do. I will say that the blue color that I imagined was inspired a bit by the blue of your crows.
Well, there you go.
But but it was this crow-headed guy who was fixing his dirt bike.
The crow was a guy that was fixing his dirt bike? Or
Yeah.
he had a guy?
No, the guy had a body of a human and the head of a crow, and he rode a dirt bike.
And he was fixing
And he was like fixing it. But then while he was fixing it, me and this normal crow came up to him, and I just stood there while the crow and the crow-headed guy talked in their crow language, and I didn't understand any of it.
Can the guy speak English too? Or
I don't know. I only experienced him speaking Crow.
Is that going to be in the game?
Yeah, well,
That's cool. Fixing the bike could be a mini game.
it's an interesting idea. I don't know if I will because the idea that I had immediately upon waking, or like pretty quick upon waking and thinking about this whole thing, is to make a surrealistic Excite bike. And so I would like the thing about Excite bike is that it is such a simple game. Like
Right.
it's literally just race to the right.
Yeah.
Continually race to the right. Try not to fall over.
It has a level editor too, right?
I think it does actually, yeah.
So there's a story about that because in Japan there was this add-on to the Famicom that was like a computer system. Like it had a keyboard and you could make games in BASIC. And it had an add-on that was to store, because back then most affordable computers used cassette tapes to store data. So that's what the Famicom BASIC system or whatever it was had. So they used that with Excitebike to save the data for the level editor, but they took it out because they didn't bring it to America. So that's why you can't save your data in the NES version.
That's interesting.
I thought it was really interesting too.
So there's probably cassette tapes out there that have Excitebike levels on them.
Yeah.
Floating around Japan.
I wonder what they sound like.
Well, I feel like we should check in with how we're doing on time here. Doo-doo. All right, got 52. $52 minutes and counting down. Yeah. If you're in the chat, I'd love to hear from you. How you doing today?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
What kind of thing could we do now that we're both in the same place that we could normally do?
Yeah, it would have been really good to think about this.
We could play music together.
We could. Do you have other music that you can?
I have a lot of instruments, actually.
Oh, yeah. Oh, a little keyboard.
I will have to find the chord for this. Unless you have a bunch of double batteries. Oh man, nope, that's not even possible. Look.
Is it corroded?
It's more than that. The corrosion destroyed one of the things and it just fell off when I tried to move it.
Careful touching the corrosion.
Yeah, I guess so. For those of you who don't know, I just knocked a camera or a lamp down.
Yeah,
so
you
that's
might.
what that was.
You might have noticed that it got a little bit darker in here. And now there are some small broken pieces of lamp on the ground. No worries.
I'm not really sure where the power cord for it is, but I think it's this. You don't have to keep the rubber band on there. I was using that as an experiment. What? Oh yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, because it's an interesting.
Scale.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't really think about it, but I have used that scale. Because I've used that thing.
The fact that it starts on the D, because it like works well with the G, with the G chord. But it also could be
Let's play something with that.
something that would be well in tune with us. It wasn't. kind of nice to play some music with these Macs.
Yeah, I thought that was a very nice melody. And I thought playing it together added to was thinking that could have used some
Check out our time real quick. That was really fun. So we used to play together probably every day for like
I never really thought about
a year.
It was every day.
Probably, right? Probably not far
Sounds
off.
right, yeah.
I mean,
I never really thought about that.
like, cause we lived together for a little while, and then we just had like a room that was for jamming.
I mean, it was the main room of the house.
It was.
That was like the whole purpose of the house, pretty much.
Yeah.
We didn't have a TV.
Yeah.
Oh, am I going to get in trouble for saying that?
What do you mean?
Because people get mad if you say you don't have a TV.
I very happily did not have a TV for a long time. I would even probably still not have a TV, but someone got us a TV.
Oh no! There's nothing you can do if somebody gets you a TV. Just joking. There's nothing wrong with having a TV.
No, it's not too bad. But I'm pretty glad it's not connected to a TV.
No.
We did have a TV, actually.
We did?
Yeah, we had.
Oh yeah.
It was in that console.
I forgot about that.
It was like in the console, and it wasn't plugged in, but it had really great static.
Mm-hmm. Could manipulate the static.
Yeah, you could manipulate the static.
It would have been cool to do more with that.
I wanted to, yeah. But we're not the most organized people at that time. But you know, like, one of the things that I think about is like that we have played together music a lot, and you know, like, I just kind of like feel like it's, even though we probably haven't played together in I don't even know how long.
A really long time. We haven't even seen each other in person for a really long time.
Like maybe 5 years. Did we play together at all when you were visiting in Montana at that time?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So that's like at least 5 years that we haven't played music together. But like, it feels very natural to play together again.
Yeah, I was surprised how well our first thing we played went.
But it's interesting, like, for me, it's like it's an interesting way of playing, because like I've played with a lot of people that now, like, the Chicago scene is like very like a lot of the improvisation scene is like very like noise oriented, and like sort of explorations of like sounds and like experimental, like, how can I get new sounds out of this? But like,
I do like that.
Yeah, me too. Like, but it's different than like kind of what we're doing, which is kind of like sort of melodic, kind of like there's a groove to it, kind of like, but like it also like there's like this messy quality to it that like I feel like we've always connected on, of just kind of like, even if like things aren't like perfectly in tune and stuff, we can still make something kind of cool out of it.
And that's noise.
Yeah, it's like a different kind of noise that I don't often see.
That's a really interesting, you know? I have never really thought about that. That's a good point.
Because I you know, I was thinking as we were playing, I was remembering this idea that because when we lived together, we had that drum set that was like just like you just got it off like from
the internet.
Yeah, like off the internet, and like it was not that good of a drum set.
No, it was okay.
It was okay.
Wasn't really in tune, and
yeah, like it wasn't.
It's kind of,
especially like the toms, I think were really like kind of like loose and floppy sounding a little bit. I don't know. Maybe they weren't.
Oh wait,
bad.
the tom.
Yeah.
The tom didn't seem to be in.
The snare was better than you might think for how cheap.
Yeah, I thought the snare was pretty good.
Yeah, but like we had like metal signs on there and stuff because we didn't really have cymbals.
I liked that. Yeah.
And I remember we would go out and just like play around Missoula, and
that was largely due to Gavin.
Well, but even just the two of us would do it
Not with
sometimes.
the drums.
Well, sometimes we would take like some percussion stuff every now and then because we didn't always take both guitars. I think.
Oh. Well, I think that's a good idea.
And I remember at one point inventing, like, I just felt like what we were making was like trash music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there was something really cool about it. And it's like, you know, like in some ways, like there's like some like certain kinds of punk or something that I think kind of could get into that kind of realm where it's
Maybe
just
never
like,
have so far.
but like, where it's just like, you're not playing with the best instruments.
I like to think of it as junk.
Yeah, junk.
Instead of
oh,
punk.
junk. Yeah. I remember us using that word. Yeah.
But I also kind of consider the music we make freak music. Like the genre is freak.
You're listening to Freak Music with Hot and Max. See how we are on time here.
But you know, it's funny you mentioned that because I would like to explore that more. That's part of the reason why I have these random toy instruments and stuff, because that's kind of like, you know, I want to explore that.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to do things that aren't instruments even. But
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like we were very exploratory at that time, I think. And it's hard to describe like I'm sure to some people, like especially through the internet now, like I'm impressed that anyone is continuing to watch this
I
because
hope it sounds good.
I hope so too, but I do
Oh, we
not
should
have
have used
high
my
hopes.
microphone.
I do not have high hopes that it sounds good. But like it doesn't sound clean, but there is like something that is happening in it that I think is really interesting. And it's something that like I think some of our best moments are kind of captured on that like Cape Flavor Jam.
What would you describe that something as?
Well, like one's like It's Alive, where it's like there's this kind of just like noisy like. I think that one actually might be the Closet Men.
Oh yeah.
And like it's just kind of has a noisy sound to it, like, but we're all in it together, kind of like we're all with each other, even though like not everything sounds beautiful or sounds right necessarily, like in like I don't know, like instruments may not be in tune, but like we're still pulling something together and like staying together and like.
And usually
making
they
sounds.
were in tune.
Yeah.
Like we didn't,
not right.
but
sometimes,
they didn't always sound in tune because we would sometimes play chords that sounded bad.
It's true,
but they sounded good. They sounded bad. They sounded bad in a good way.
Right.
What was I going to say? I was thinking about something. I totally forgot it.
Oops.
Wait, we don't have to stop just because we messed up.
No. We do want to check in. We're getting pretty down to the wire here.
Oh, what I was going to say, but I forgot, was that's kind of what Jackie, who we played music with too a lot, said. Like, I remember once she said that the music we played was kind of how you described it in a way.
What do you mean? Like, how do you, like,
Well, the way she described it was kind of like industrial and grooving, which
I
is
remember
I
that.
kind of see.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes I think some of the things we play in tonight sound kind of like nature, and like foresty. You know, nature is messy too.
Yeah, there is a very natural quality to it. And I think actually there's like this, it's like, there's something that's interesting about like, even through the mess, like there being clear connection that's happening. Like, even sometimes where things are kind of like disparate, like where it's kind of like sometimes we're playing different things. Like sometimes we're playing things that match well and everything.
I'd say most of the time.
Yeah. But like sometimes we will go to like different chords and then we'll keep going back to that and like, but like,
or sometimes we'll go to like one chord that doesn't really sound great, but then one person will change one thing and then it will sound good.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
Yeah.
I think that kind of resolution is really enjoyable.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because I feel like not everyone wants to like work their way through the forest kind of to find that like what do I have to do to like bring this more in tune with you, and like that is a really interesting thing.
And not only that, but it also is really fast. Like what we were doing today, I noticed it a few times, and like we didn't like noodle around it or anything, you know. We were just continuously moving forward. And you know, if it didn't sound good, then we would try something else.
Well, and even if it did sound good, we didn't stick with it for too long. But like
it was always like moving. Like one of us would sometimes change, but the other one would stay the same for a while, and then it was like interweaving. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very fun to make that kind of music.
Yeah.
And
especially when you can like trust the person that you're playing with, because like sometimes like you play that sort of thing and like not everyone wants to play like that.
True.
And so it's like hard to just kind of like keep chugging along with something if you don't like know that like, oh, like you're gonna like I can play around more because I know that you're gonna just keep doing something, and even if we do end up going farther apart, like I can trust that like you're fine with that.
I think that's a different way of playing music from what I think most people do.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of the time it takes people a little bit to get that that's what we're doing. And I've I've noticed that a few times. Like sometimes, I mean, like that's how I jammed from the start, just because I didn't know how to jam.
Right.
And I think maybe that's common, but like we learn different ways of playing music together, and this is a way that I haven't encountered too much, and I really like doing it.
Yeah, and I mean it's really unique that we have at certain times found groups of people who are willing to also do that. I mean, that's like both Milkus Beats, like the tape flavor jam thing that I've mentioned a few times, like is Milkus Beats is like the group I get, or Windodio is the group.
Right. Yeah.
Windodio is the group, and Milkus Beats is like the first recordings of live stuff that we did like back in 2010.
Something. I think it was a little later than that. But
2011 maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I think through there, 2010, 2011, that we like did those like jams where we would just jam, and we had like a whole basement full of instruments to just like explore.
And a lot of people.
And a lot of people who are willing to be in
nice.
that. And I still think that's some of the most interesting music that I've ever been a part of.
Same here.
And like, I'm really glad that you recorded those first ones. And I'm glad that we got those second one, like that second group recorded too.
That was a little bit more refined, and the recording quality is better. So it's nice.
Not just a phone recording.
Right. A very poor quality microphone.
That's it. Well,
thanks for watching, whoever you are.
I'm gonna. You want to join me to play out?
Oh yeah.
Play the.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
Thank you for coming down. Thank you for sticking around. Hope you had some fun, and now the show's done. So go on, get out of here.
Thanks so much,
very in tune.